Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome back to another episode of She is Resilient. Today we're talking about one of the biggest blocks I see come up, especially if you're new to somatic work or nervous system healing, and that is how to feel. And maybe you're thinking, Tatiana, I feel all of the time. I want to feel less. Then stay with me, because I don't mean just being emotional or having a good cry. I'm talking about actually feeling what's happening in your body. Being fully connected to your emotions and feeling your physical sensations and understanding the difference between your thoughts and your feelings. Because here's the thing that I hear all the time when I ask people where they feel an emotion, especially if they're new to somatic healing. They say, I don't feel it anywhere, it's in my head. Or they might say, I think I feel sad, but I'm not sure if I actually feel it or if I'm just thinking about feeling sad. And that's a really important distinction. When I'm in a somatic experiencing session with a client and they tell me, I think I feel sad, or I think I feel anxious, or if they tell me that their emotions live in their head, then that immediately tells me that they are not connected to their body. Because emotions don't live in your mind. Thoughts live in your mind, and feelings or emotions live in the body. So today, I'm going to help you understand the difference between thoughts, sensations, and emotions. So let's start with thoughts. Thoughts are mental. They're the words, beliefs, stories, and judgments happening in your mind. So anytime you're thinking or you're in your mind, you're experiencing thoughts, not feelings. And there's a good chance you're disconnected from your body. So example of thoughts are, I can't trust anyone, which would be the fight state. I need to get this done right now, which is the flight state. There's no point in trying, which is the freeze state. What if scenarios like, what if something bad happens, or what if I fail, or what if people judge me? Those are all statements that come from the flight state. Emotions are body-based experiences, so they live in your body. So examples of emotions include sadness, anxiety, fear, anger, grief, happiness, joy, calm, excited, disgust, and so on and so forth. And lastly, sensations are like the building blocks of emotions. They're the actual felt experiences of the emotion. So for example, tightness in your chest, warmth in your belly, heaviness in your limbs, buzzing or tingling in your hands, emptiness, expansion, pressure. And of course, the felt sense can only be accessed by connecting to the body. And when it comes to healing your nervous system, this is where the magic happens. It's by connecting fully to the felt sense, the physical sensations in your body. So something that I always say to my somatic experiencing clients is, don't think about what you're feeling. Let your body tell you what you're feeling. Because most people live in their heads, so they tend to try to think about what they're experiencing instead of feeling what they're experiencing, which makes sense because when you've lived in survival mode for a long time, your nervous system doesn't feel safe connecting to the body, which is one of the primary reasons you live in your head. because analyzing, overthinking, predicting, scanning, and staying mentally on was a form of protection. So when I ask a client, where do you feel that in your body? And they say, in my head, what's happening is that the client most likely is thinking about the feeling, not actually feeling the feeling. And in order to heal, we need to feel, not think. That's why cognitive approaches like talk therapy, journaling, meditation, affirmations, and mindset work can only take you so far when you're trying to get out of survival mode, because the cognitive approaches are all about thinking and not feeling. So let me give you a couple of examples and really break it down. So let's pretend you're my somatic experiencing client and you tell me, I feel like I'm not good enough. So that phrase sounds emotional, but it's actually a thought. I feel like I'm not good enough. And the reason it's a thought is because when we go back to the definitions of thoughts, emotions, and sensations, I'm not good enough falls under a belief or a narrative. So just because you put the words I feel in front of it doesn't mean that it actually makes it an emotion or a sensation. So in order to connect with the emotion or sensation underneath the thought, I'm not good enough, we want to bring awareness into the body. So as your somatic experiencing practitioner, I would say something like, what happens in your body when you say, I'm not good enough? What emotion comes up? Let's say you're feeling one or all of these: shame, sadness, defeat. This is the emotion behind the thought, I'm not good enough. Now, to access the sensation, we want to go one step further. What does shame feel like in your body? What does sadness feel like in your body? Or what does defeat feel like in your body? And oftentimes I get the response, I don't know what it feels like. So then I typically say, what tells you that you're feeling that emotion? So what tells you that you feel shame or sadness or defeat? What are the physical feelings in your body that tell you that? So you might say your body feels weak or empty, heavy or numb. And that's where we begin to shift from thinking about feelings to actually feeling them. Because now that we've identified the physical sensation of weakness or emptiness or heaviness or another physical sensation, then we can actually feel the shame or the sadness instead of just thinking about not being good enough. I hope that makes sense, but I'm going to give you another quick example. Let's say that you tell me, I feel anxious. So this one's a bit trickier because anxious is both a word we use emotionally and something that we feel physically. So if you tell me you feel anxious, again, I want to know what tells you that you feel anxious. Is your heart racing? Is your stomach tense or fluttery? Are your hands restless or sweaty? Are you holding your breath? And once we can identify what you're experiencing physically and where in your body it lives, then we can begin to feel and track the sensations. And this work is really fascinating because what most people find is that sometimes they say they're feeling one thing, but when they actually connect to their body, it's saying something completely different. So a really good example of this is when clients tell me that they feel calm, but when they connect to their body, they might start to notice tension or emptiness in their body, which tells me that they're not actually feeling calm. They were thinking that they were calm, or maybe they wanted to feel calm, but the body never lies. And like I always say in almost all of these episodes, your body is always trying to communicate with you, and every thought, every emotion, every sensation is telling you if you're in a state of fight, flight, freeze, or in a parasympathetic state. So the body never lies, but you know what does lie? The mind. The mind loves to trick us into believing things. But if you truly want to know yourself and connect with your inner truth and inner wisdom that I know every woman has, it needs to happen by connecting with your body. So if you work with me or if you've worked with me in the past, you know that I usually like to skip the labeling of emotions, especially if you have a tendency to get stuck in the narratives, because I've been doing this work long enough that I can get a good sense of what emotion is coming up for you based on your physical sensations. And the most important part is that you're feeling the emotion, not just labeling it. Labeling what you're experiencing can help, but again, the healing happens when you feel it and when you fully experience it, because the more that you stay in your head just thinking about your emotions, the more you continue to get stuck in that loop. You'll keep analyzing, judging, and trying to make sense of it. And making sense of everything is a mental process, not an emotional one. But like I've already said, and will continue to say, healing doesn't happen through thinking alone. So here are some signs that you might be thinking about your emotions or feelings instead of actually feeling them. Hey there, if you're looking for daily somatic practices to add to your toolbox, I'd love to introduce you to my somatic bundle where I guide you through over 30 somatic tools and practices that support your nervous system by creating the safety that your nervous system requires to move out of survival mode. Just click the link in the show notes and you will get immediate access to my library of tools. See you there. Number 1, you're stuck in the mental or thought loop. So again, you're stuck in that narrative or belief system. Number 2, you say, I don't know when someone asks you what you're feeling, because I don't know is coming from the mind. It's a cognitive response as opposed to a physical one. Number 3, you can't tell the difference between anxiety and excitement. Number 4, you say, I think I'm feeling instead of saying I'm feeling or I'm experiencing. Number 5, you name beliefs or narratives instead of emotions or sensations. And number 6, you have a hard time identifying where you feel emotions in your body. So how do you actually start to feel? So the first thing that you can do to start to feel your emotions instead of just think about your emotions is to actually start with the sensation and not the emotion. So instead of trying to name your emotion, try to notice the physical feeling in your body. So for example, if you're sitting right now, what does it feel like to be sitting? Is your chair warm? Is it firm? Is it soft? What's the physical feeling of sitting? Second, try to be curious. Instead of judging everything you're noticing, try to approach it with curiosity. Is the sensation of sitting moving? So for example, if your chair is warm right now, is that warmth moving? Is the sensation staying the same? Does the sensation have a temperature or a shape, right? So just being curious. One of my go-tos when clients have a hard time connecting to their bodies is practicing self-locating. Self-locating is basically just locating every part of your body. So we are gently making circular movements throughout the body and feeling what it's like to make contact, noticing the contact between your hand and the rest of your body. The slower you go, the more sensation you can access. If you practice this and you're like, I still don't feel anything, most likely it's because you're going too fast. So intentionally go slower until you can access sensation. You might notice tingling, softness, warmth. Bring awareness to the texture of your skin or your clothes and just stay curious. Learning how to feel is a process. It's truly like learning a whole nother language. It takes time, it takes slowness, and it takes a lot of self-compassion. But the more that you build that connection, the more you actually learn to feel, the more space opens up in your nervous system, because the nervous system's primary language is physical sensation. So you begin to build that tolerance. You begin to build capacity in your nervous system. Like I said earlier, your body is always communicating to you. We just need to learn how to listen. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you found value in this episode, I would love for you to hit the follow button and turn your notifications on so that you don't miss any new episodes. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.